I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time for Scott. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, re-reviews, randomness, a list, just whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box, and I will try to get to it as soon as I can. And this is for Westworld Season 1, Episode 1. If you're wondering why I'm looking down, I wrote a few things so I didn't forget, or I didn't have to check my phone for stuff. Now, Westworld, I remember the original movie and quite enjoy it. Michael Crichton was involved with it. Yul Brynner as pretty much a precursor to the Terminator. I mean, Westworld, the original film, it was this attraction that guests could go to, and kind of a Disneyland type of facility but you could live your fantasy of being the Wild West. And there were other parks as well, but this was Westworld. And your two leads were guests, paid a lot of money to have a fantasy of being a cowboy. It'll cut to the facility where they're working on the androids, and during it, you can outlive your fantasies, whether you want to sleep with a woman or have a gunfight, shoot, whatever. The androids don't hurt the guests. Of course, something goes wrong, something goes haywire, and a good chunk of the film is Yul Brynner kills one of the leads, chases the other, and it's this chase movie that's a sci-fi thriller, little bit of action, with Yul Brynner as the cowboy who would not die. Like I say, it's kind of a predecessor to the Terminator with Yul Brynner's character. And I've heard of this show. I never bothered to watch it because it seemed like not my cup of tea. And I was right. I was not a fan of this. It's not a rant because it didn't make me mad. I just was rather bored because I sat there going, and this doesn't follow the movie precisely. There is a Westworld. There are androids that they call hosts. That you can do pretty much whatever you want with it. It's much more dramatic, that's the thing about the movie. I felt more of an action thriller aspect. Not really the case here. More of a pontificating drama, but it's stuff that I've seen many times before, so it was really nothing that ingenious or interesting. One moment I would say was a little bit surprising, which I too, but the actors are not a problem. You have people like Jeffrey Wright, James Marsden, Ed Harris, Anthony Hopkins, Tandy Newton. I believe Michael Wincott was in a very, very briefly in this episode. again, I'm just watching this, I'm going, this, I would much rather watch the movie. Like, the movie, because this is, I believe they've had 3 seasons, and there may or may not be a 4th one, and each season is like 10 episodes long. And again, it made me go, well, how the hell you take a movie? Oh, because it's not quite like the movie. Again, it's the Westworld, androids, and it's going to be their slow change from android to perhaps being a sentient being. But that's what I mean. Like, I've seen so many films and shows dealing with this stuff of some type of way where, whether it be The Surrogates, whether it be iRobot, whether it be the original Westworld, just so many, Ex Machina, some good, some bad, some indifferent, some mid, some that's shitty, some that's awesome. I mean, just so many countless type of things that for me, this didn't really offer anything that new or interesting, or it did not make me want to watch more. It really didn't. Like, the go into the episode, spoilers, it starts up where you have this android lady, her body's still, but we hear her voice as Jeffrey Wright, who is one of the people who works at the facility, are asking her questions, pretty much to get, like, where is her memory at, where is her status at as an android being. Then it flashes to Westworld. People come in, it's a vacation, live their dreams as a cowboy. I will say they did a nice job tricking me to give credit where credit's due. At the end, spoilers. James Marsden, you think he's one of the people who's a guest, gets with this girl. Okay, he's with the girl because he's a returning customer. Someone comes in, starts killing people. It's Ed Harris. Ed Harris is dressed in black like Yul Brynner. But it's a switch. Ed Harris is the guest. James Marsden is one of the androids. Even Ed Harris goes, I wonder why they pair you guys together, android, android. I guess, someone needs to win, someone needs to lose, and they make you that. And Ed Harris, I would say he's the one thing that intrigues me about it, because you could tell he's a character who has come back to this Westworld over and over and over again, and he'll say lines like, it's all part of a game, and I'm going to go for the deeper level to the game. And he'll, like, grab an android and, like, I just see how much blood is in them, and, like, scalp them and use the robotic stuff in it to try to find answers. Again, he's the one character that makes me intrigued as to what his story is. But other than that, I mean, Anthony Hopkins, he's in it as the boss, the creator. You get the idea that he wants more out of these things. That really, I'm guessing he wants them to be sentient. He wants them to truly find their place in this world. You just kind of tell that he'll, like, he's fine with doing updates and tweets. And, hey, Jeffrey Wright, hey, sometimes I make the occasional mistake. I'm like, it's not a mistake. I can already tell. This is Anthony Hopkins. Even though he's played a lot of good guys, he's still Hannibal Lecter, and until there's something shady going on. Shady, not shitty. Something shady going on with him. But yeah, I did not expect that James Marsden was one of the androids. I'm okay. You tricked me, show. I give you that. And it goes to, like, Jeffrey Wright and his team. One of the female workers, like, kisses the female android. I don't know what that was about. Anthony Hopkins, he'll chat with one of the old hosts, as they call it, which is the androids. So when I say host, it's the androids. Including Michael Wincott, who's like an old Wild West type of guy. He's in one scene in this. And it shows a lot of the androids sort of the repeated days, the repetitive nature, how each day they'll be shot, or they'll be used for this and that, or the loved one gets shot, which I get the idea of that, to showcase how, yes, they're androids, but the idea that they're being used over and over again, these emotions of scripted, of being shot or killed or seeing someone they love, that repeated notions is a bit weird when you think about it. Someone even has the conclusion of, well, why are we trying to make these things more human? Isn't that kind of the point, that people come here because they know it's not real? Why are we trying to make it more real when we know people come here mainly to either fuck or kill? Which, I mean, the guy makes a good point. So I mean, this isn't an awful episode or anything. It's just, it's like an hour and 8 minutes, and I just was not that interesting for me to go, okay, I care to continue with the. It doesn't really intrigue me a whole lot, because other than a handful of moments, it's just maybe because I don't care about the Wild West. There are movies, High Plains Drifter, Young Guns, Man with No Name trilogy, Quigley Down Under. Yeah, I enjoy those films. But it's either dealing with the characters, or dealing with the tone, or dealing with the direction, or the music, combination of it all. Did Westworld seem more of a sci-fi thriller action, while this is more, again, pontificating drama? Not that I'm against that. It's just, to be fair, it's not really the thing I picked first or second or third as my choice of kind of movies. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate them, even though people say I don't. I like All the President's Men quite a bit. I like And Justice for All with Al Pacino. I like Shawshank Redemption. No, I don't like Ex Machina. I think it's overrated. I think it's an overrated director, honestly. And, this, Ed Harris is doing his thing. Oh, and then some of the androids start having weird episodes. And they bring him in, and Jeffrey Wright's like, maybe it's an update. Just like a sheriff, like, froze and wouldn't move. Pretty much the lead is this android named Dolores. And, like, her dad starts acting up. And that's when it seems like he starts to figure what's going on. And that's maybe transferring to Dolores, who's, I believe they say she's the oldest android. And I would not be surprised. With the way Anthony Hopkins acts, with these updates he gave, it seems like he's pretty much showcasing, yeah, I want these guys to be sentient, rebellion, whatever. Kind of like, the clones in The Island, which I enjoy, with Michael Bay. Those weren't androids, but, the clones of them, like, they get them to rise up, and which I've seen that before. I saw it in the Simpsons episode, which was take on Westworld, when they were at Itchy and Scratchy Land, and all the robots went crazy and rose up to attack the Simpsons. Other things to note, there's an orchestral version of Painted Black, because they write a script. There's 10% of the androids that need to be headed back to check if their updates are screwing them up. How we do that and not screw up the guests' stories. Oh, have a bad guy come in, kill all the androids that have the updates, bring them through. And that's where the orchestral version of Painted Black, the Rolling Stones song, comes into play. But it's one of those things that I don't really feel anything during the sequence, because that one I was able to figure out, because they said that before, that they need to get all these 10% in. And even the one guy said, well, that's like 200 of them. I'm like, Okay, that's going to happen sometimes. So when all this starts happening, this massacre, I'm like, oh, that's what it is. And that's what it ended up being. So, because it's android shooting android, and there's really, for me, no tension. There's no... You don't... They're all pretty much faceless androids. As I said, I don't feel any tension. I don't feel any emotion. I don't feel any adrenaline. Because, in a way, nothing matters. Because there's no danger in the scene. So I just, for me, it was empty. Pretty empty. And the way the show the episode ends, they mentioned before, oh, they can't even hurt a fly. And lo and behold, when she starts her repetitive, scripted story the next day, lo and behold, there's a fly. She smacks it. She kills a fly. You didn't realize it. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. She killed a fly. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Sorry. When ape shit. I don't know why. It's not. Again, it's not bad. I'm just kind of bored. I was rather bored watching it. It's just not my kind of show. It's not my kind of show. I didn't find it like True Detective, which that's another request coming up. That's pulling me in. Just it's focused on the two main characters of Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. And each story, I learn more and more what's going on with these characters. And they're two really good actors working fairly well together. And I wasn't sure at first, but the whole differing of timelines is a bit more palpable. And I'm drawn into... It's a bit slow, too. That's the thing, is like you get these stories that maybe were work better as a miniseries. But they stretch them out for like 10 episodes. I think that's a problem nowadays. It's not 26 episodes where you have a bunch of filler and breaks with stuff, its own separate stories, like a lot of regular TV shows, or each episode is like its own movie, like CSI Miami or House MD, where there are stories that flow through, but for the most part they're kind of separate movies. And in the background, there's separate stories that go along with it. Here, no, it's like there's one story, and it's stretched out for 10 episodes, so that it does feel a bit slow, and it feels like, okay, well, that's in there, and that's in there. It feels like there's filler. But True Detective at least is pulling me in more. This one, it did not. I'm sorry, Scott. I apologize. It wasn't for me. I would rather stick with the movie from the 70s with Yul Brynner. That's more my cup of tea. To me, it still showcases the dangers of technology and how it can fuck you in the ass, it can fuck you in the core, it can fuck you in the space, it can fuck you in your face, it can fuck you in the ass. Just I don't give a fuck. Don't fuck me in the ass in the sky. Don't fuck me in the ass with some fries. Alright, I'm sorry. I can't help it. It's 2:30 in the morning. I didn't want to when it's 2:30 in the morning. I swear there's no alcohol in this, although there should be. I guess really just to have fun. You know, just... For anyone who's fallen asleep so far with me reviewing, you know, wake someone up. I say, if you're into this show, that's cool. I'll stick with the movie from the 70s. That's just my take on it. It's just I've seen so many of these type of stories, and like I said, it didn't really do enough to draw me in with the other characters, except maybe Ed Harris. But the other ones, just fell flat for me. And yeah, the story, the concept, I've seen done multiple times, and there just wasn't enough that was that creative or intriguing to pull me in. And it just, even the pacing of the show was just very slow to me. I should say the episode, but anyway. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.